What's up, Fungal Associates? Welcome to Completely Arbortrary. It's the podcast about trees and other related topics. I'm one of your hosts. My name is Alex Crowson, and of course, I am joined as ever
by me. I'm Casey.
By the you looked like a British actor about to take the stage for a retelling of Shakespeare.
Yeah, George the Sixth.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. As I know my Shakespeare.
My favorite Shakespeare.
Yeah, thank you. I was clearing my throat because I went to a Frisbee tournament this last weekend, and as always, yelled a lot.
Oh, sure, yes.
So
I feel like I can always tell when you play Frisbee. I'm like, Casey is tired, and his voice is hoarse.
Looks like we're going to record tomorrow. Yeah, I was listening to your voice just now. It was beautiful, and I was like, I hope mine is okay.
It sounds great. You've got
Thank
you know that episode of Friends where Phoebe gets sexy phlegm?
No.
She gets sick and she has like a phlegm, but it makes her voice really sultry because she's a singer. You know?
Yeah.
And everybody loves her, she gets like a bunch of
I see. Okay.
attention, and then she gets better. She heals, and she's trying to get herself sick, so she just has her head stuck out the window when it's raining, and it's very funny.
That's good. Okay.
Casey, I bring something very important to you.
Oh, you do? Okay, I'm prepared.
I'm currently reading the book series A Song of Ice and Fire.
Never heard of it.
I'm reading this, and George R.R. Martin is a very well-researched man.
Yes.
Everything he writes is like, oh yeah, that makes sense, because he's on top of it.
Okay.
And then I read this passage, and my jaw dropped, and I said, we got to talk about this on the podcast.
What? Okay.
So here's what happens. We're on the wall.
Yeah, I heard of it.
The famous the Men of the Night's Watch.
Yeah, well, it's 100 billion feet tall. It's made of ice,
Yes.
Bran the Builder, magic, etc.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
And he says that Jon Snow is working with the wildlings.
Now, Snow is a
undercover.
bastard name, correct?
Yes, Casey.
Okay.
If you do this with everything, this is going to last forever.
And that's
Just
the show.
shut up and listen. Casey pushed the mic away from his face.
It's the only way it can work.
All right, so Jon Snow is working undercover with the wildlings. He was told to by Corrin Halfhand. It's a whole thing. So they're going to scale the wall. And the reason that they can do it without being seen is because the trees are growing right up next to the wall.
Which they're not supposed to be doing.
And Jon Snow says, when we were all on the wall working there, we went out, he said, we went out every day to cut back the trees. Now, the tree that they climbed to get a head start is noted as being like 80 feet tall.
Which, comparatively to the wall, not that tall.
No, but the point is, you're telling me you took a year off max from cutting back the trees, and you have an 80-foot tall pine tree.
Yes.
Growing. No.
I see where you're coming
It's going to be 2 feet tall.
It's going to be at max at best.
And it's in the tundra.
Exactly.
It's growing so slow.
Yes. Well, not quite the tundra, more the taiga, or the boreal forest.
Sure.
Up there.
Taiga. Okay.
Yeah. That's a term.
The boreal forest. Yeah.
Yes. So
it's not going to be growing 80 feet in a year's time.
No, and it's also probably a spruce. I believe I recall them bringing up sentinel spruce, which I think is just a tall spruce.
Well, they say soldier pine a lot.
Oh, they do.
Whatever
okay.
that is.
All right, I think those are the two that they use.
Okay.
Okay.
But this one that they climbed, I think, was a pine.
Okay.
And is 80 feet tall. No, George.
Now, so here's the thing. Here's where I think
George,
it is.
no.
I think George got away with this one.
Oh.
So you may recall that they have like big forts along the wall. There's the big ones on like the far coasts.
Yep.
And then there's one like right in the middle.
Castle Black in the middle there.
Castle Black.
That's where they're climbing the wall.
At Castle Black?
I believe so.
But okay.
No, they're not.
I don't think they are.
No, they aren't.
Because this is one of the big plot points, is that they started to essentially not be able to man all the other minor forts in between. Because they were like every mile or something.
Yeah, there were like 21 of them, and then only 3 of them are currently have a garrison.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
so
you're
I
right.
think that is the space that they found their way.
Wow.
Because of course they wouldn't climb at Castle Black because it's just swarming with the Night's Watch.
That's true. But then why were they so concerned about being seen?
I think they still do patrols on the top, but not to mention I think you can just kind of look over and be like, hey, There's someone up there. As long as you get, you do a patrol out into the thing, what they call it, a ranging.
Yeah. Well, George, you got away with this one.
You got away with this.
I completely forgot about that aspect of it.
But that means, I think you're still right. I think this is worth discussing because that means if it's 80 feet tall, did they climb to the tippy top, which would be ridiculous to climb to the tippy top? Like any full-grown person could not climb to the tippy top because it's too small.
Yeah, you get flung off.
Yeah, exactly. You can climb up to a very decent height on most of these kinds of trees.
Yes,
but then you couldn't get up much higher, especially if you have all your gear and your armor and all this kind of stuff.
I think they climbed up part of the way. And then kind of reached over to the wall.
Yeah, I think that's probably
right. Well, you're totally right. I'm glad I brought it up, even though I look a fool.
No,
even though I'm a regular patch face.
I think you're not. You're okay, and that was worth questioning.
Well, thanks.
Yeah,
Casey, you're right. We're not here to talk about all that jazz. We're here to talk about trees, and the one we're talking today. Listen.
I want to see if you get the name right.
Sea mango?
Yes, nice. Okay.
You
Well, I changed it a few times.
Yes, so I thought we were covering a different tree.
Yes.
And then I get updates to my email when you change something on our project management software.
Really?
So I saw sea mango come in and my jaw dropped and I said, "Oh my God, sea mangoes."
Yes.
My first thought, of course, was what Chris Kattan says on The Ocean.
No.
Nobody touches the sea mango. Well, Casey, this is Caraba or Cerbera?
I think it would be Cerbera.
Or Cerbera, excuse me.
Well, I'm going to say Cerbera because...
Cerbera.
Yeah. I think Cerbera is probably most best.
Because it's like Cerberus.
Exactly.
Manghas.
Manghas.
Wow.
Yes, which I believe means that it is the mango-ish Cerbera.
Okay. Casey... We'll talk about this tree after a quick break. We'll be right back with Completely Arbortrary. Welcome back to Completely Arbortrary. Today we're talking the sea mango.
That's sure are.
Hyphenated, by the way.
Exactly, because it's not a technical mango.
That's what tells me it's false.
You know what you're doing now.
It's a false mango. Casey, let's imagine we are... How about we're canoeing through a mangrove forest?
I love that idea.
And we come across some mangoes, some sea mangoes.
Some sea mangoes, which is very important that you know the difference.
I get all excited and you're like, Alex, no.
Yeah, I would take my paddle and whack you.
Sea mangoes.
Sea mangoes, Alex. So this is a tree that grows, as I noted, in the mangrove forests of essentially the tropical fringes and the center of the Indian Ocean.
Oh.
So it doesn't grow too far inland. It prefers to grow in kind of the estuaries where there is a mangrove-ish forest, but where fresh water is coming out. So imagine where a river comes out or something like that.
Oh, okay. What is that called? Estuary?
Yes, that's precisely the word I said, not 10 seconds prior.
I was not listening. My bad.
Wow. Very good job. Now you just outed yourself pretty clearly.
Whoops.
So you can find it growing all the way from the coasts of Madagascar and up Africa, wherever it's kind of very nice and tropical with much water, all the way through India and the Seychelles Islands in the Central Pacific, over to Polynesia, and then a couple species all the way down into Australia.
Okay.
And that kind of just basically follow the Indian Ocean and any fringe of land with a little bit of fresh water nearby, you're probably going to be able to find this tree.
It's that ring of fire, except not.
Yes, it's the one that's inside the Indian Ocean.
It's hyphenated.
The Pacific Ocean.
It's the ring hyphen of hyphen fire.
Yeah, because it's not a real one.
Yeah.
Love it. Yeah, I don't think there's any volcanoes in that ring of fire.
The ring of mangoes.
Yeah, right? That's true. So this is it's a beautiful tree, and you can actually find it growing almost anywhere in the tropics now. It is a landscape tree, which is really interesting when you hear about it later.
Yeah.
So it grows to about 60 feet tall, 20-ish or so meters in height. I've seen some people record it up to about 30 meters, just about 100 feet. But I'm dubious of that. I think 60 feet is probably where you're going to see it on average.
Okay.
So sometimes shorter, sometimes larger. It's got kind of a really bushy-looking canopy. kind of tends to be widespread, doesn't really create a like really tall thing like what you'd imagine a European beech or something like that. It's not near that level. But it also has this kind of funny thing where all of its foliage grows in a spiral fashion at the end of the twigs.
Yeah,
this
is cool. This reminds me of so many other plants, but I can't remember them because they were tropical.
Ah, yes.
And I don't log tropical plants into my long-term memory because there are just too many.
There are too many. It reminds me a lot of the rhododendron around here.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Yes, so in the less tropical regions of the world.
Sure.
Yeah, so they always tend to do that. It's one of the best ID characteristics for rhododendrons in my experience.
Okay.
Now, these leaves are generally about 2 to 12 inches long, so they're pretty variable on average.
Yeah.
They're very glossy, and they are usually elliptic, which is also oval, but sometimes they can be obovate, which the easiest way to remember these things is if you add ob in front of something, ob, it makes it backwards.
Okay.
So ovate is egg-shaped, where you have a leaf that has a widest bit below the halfway point near the petiole. Elliptic means oval, and that means the widest point is right in the center. Obovate is the opposite of ovate, which means the widest part is nearer to the tip.
Yes.
And that's the easiest way to remember that.
Cool.
There's lots of little other things that we could talk about, but that's really the main thing.
Are you drunk?
Anyway,
that's the easy way to remember that. Obtuse.
Yes, there you go.
It's the opposite of tuse.
It is the opposite of tuse.
I will say these leaves are utility tropical leaves.
They really are.
Yeah,
I think that very much true.
They don't do much for me.
They don't do, and you know what? Same thing with the bark. It's very gray, gets a little fissured every now and then. It doesn't really jump out at me as like, oh, now that is bark.
Sure. They just had bark. To have bark, so they just took the stock option.
Exactly, and it just moved on. Now, the one thing, Alex, that needs to be noted that is not in any way utility is the flowers. Have you seen these?
Yeah.
What do you think? Just right off the bat, give me your first initial response.
Okay, my initial response is don't touch.
Oh, really?
And maybe it's because I know
you do know.
I know the little stinger at the end of this tail.
Yeah.
But I look at them now and I think those we should stay away from those.
See, I agree. They are to die for.
Oh.
Because they're just beautiful.
Yeah.
They're bone white.
With a orange-ish center.
Oh, geez. Why did you say that like that, Alex? Oh, my God.
Sorry to spook you.
Honestly, these flowers are gorgeous.
Yeah.
They have 5 petals. They are arranged spirally. So, well, they're technically not, but they look like they're spiral. They look kind of like the flowers being twisted, almost like they're kind of going whoosh, around.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, they've got like a
pinwheel.
Yep, totally. They've got a bit of if you take a photo of like a fan.
Yes.
And it has, because your camera has a rolling shutter, it like kind of warps the fan as it's spinning.
Exactly.
It's very specific, but I feel like it's pretty good.
No, that's exactly right, because the petals are kind of offset.
Yeah.
It's kind of one side is bigger than the other side if you cut them right down the middle.
So it's an optical illusion. They're not actually going to the side.
Correct.
They just have more meat on the left side.
Exactly. Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. But I think your description is perfect. It's exactly what's going on.
Great.
And then in the very center, they have this pink, reddish kind of splotch on each of the petals that stops with a very perfect horizontal line. Do you see that?
Yeah, it's like a hexagon in the middle.
It is. Well, technically, because there's 5, it's a pentagon.
Oh,
so it's
I even
is.
did it in my head before, so I wasn't embarrassed.
So you weren't embarrassed?
God damn it.
And look at you now. Well, so this is, I think, the most beautiful part of the whole tree. And they're
not bad.
They're about 2 inches long. Like, they're big flowers.
Oh, wow, yeah.
They're good size.
That's pretty good.
So they are planted all over the place, mostly because of this nice shape and these beautiful flowers. So very commonly found literally everywhere that is tropical in the world that has landscape trees that they plant.
See, this is a problem.
It's a problem.
Can you tell us why?
I can. Because the fruit that comes from it is highly poisonous.
Okay.
Not to mention everything else. There's a milky sap that is exuded from every part of this tree. So if you hack into the bark, or you break a twig, or you cut into the fruit, you smash a flower, this milky sap will come out. And it is, along with all these other parts, just because that's kind of inundated into the system, they're all highly poisonous. And we should note, this is poison as opposed to venom. You recall last week.
Yep. I will hold on to that fun fact forever. Let me redux it for you. So venom is when something bites you, and it is venomous.
Yes.
When you bite something, it is poisonous.
Correct.
So a snake
Easy as that.
bites you, it has venom in its fangs. It is venomous. You eat a sea mango, it is poisonous.
Yes.
Because you're biting it.
Because you are biting it.
Now, why are people planting this all over the place?
This is the thing.
This is maddening.
So this tree is planted all over the place for a few different reasons, which I found to be quite fascinating.
Okay.
They are, they just look nice. They're pretty trees. They make these really nice big fruit at the end of these already discussed nice flowers. And the fruit hangs down like a mango, but they're on kind of like long petioles or pedicels. So peduncle is actually the technical term.
Wow.
Well, no, it should be a pedicel because it's a compound fruit. So yeah, anyway, I'm not going to get too off topic. So it comes down and it looks like this kind of softball size, elongated, egg-shaped mango.
Looks like a mango. Yep.
Yeah. Little fruits, and they are technically drupes, just like mangoes. They have this hard pit in the middle with this fleshy outer coating, and that fleshy outer coating usually turns like a nice dark red. So they're quite attractive. They have everything going for them.
But is a fruit nice if you can't eat it? Maybe that's a little humanist of me.
I think yes, yeah.
Okay.
Because some of them are nice to look at. The crab apples are a good example. A lot of times they are planted so they have pretty flowers. And then in the fall, their fruit is a vibrant red or orange purplish color.
Yeah, but okay. I don't mean to get off topic, but here I go. The fruit is that color to attract you to eat it, no? To not attract you and I personally.
No, but honestly, Alex, nothing. There's one species that I have found that eats this, and it's a species of cockatoo. And that's
a bird.
It's a bird, and that bird doesn't even eat the mango flesh itself.
What does it eat?
It rips it off, and it's actually a fascinating thing. It's the only example of a non-primate getting and building and using a tool to pry open the pit and then eating the fleshy bit inside the pit.
Wow.
Which will also kill you, so don't eat that either.
But the birds can take it.
The birds can apparently take it, and they're just totally fine.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's like fascinating on that point. We could probably talk about a whole show about birds using tools.
Sure.
But that was getting too off topic. Ants are agriculturalists. So, birds using tools, I don't know, a little bit late to the game. Anyway.
Oh, they're so smart.
You're so smart. Good job, bird.
I can use a screwdriver, can you? I did see a crow dropped some sort of shelled nut in front of my car tire the other day.
Yeah.
And then stood there expectantly as I was pulling into a parking lot. And I totally saw what was happening. I was like, "Oh fuck yeah, I gotta get this.
I gotta go get it."
And I drove over it, and I heard it pop, and I was like, "Yeah!" And then I looked in the rearview mirror, and sure enough, he was in there getting at it.
Yeah, nice job.
I was like, "Oh, so satisfied. I helped my crow friend."
Yeah, that is really good. Yeah, well, you are a son of the crow.
That's true.
Another thing I think is important to note here is that makes you a tool.
Hell yeah!
Well done.
Where's my sunglasses?
Where's my sunglasses? I'm going to the UFC. I don't think everyone at UFC is tools, but
I start wearing fox riding shirts.
Sorry, everyone who meets these requirements. You are a fun trope.
It's just our experience.
Exactly.
But other than the cockatoo,
there's nothing.
This is wildly poisonous to everything.
Yes. So the only thing I could divine is that something else must have either eaten these or they didn't want to get eaten, and the fruit, I cannot figure out, and it doesn't appear that there's been any studies as to sort out what might have eaten these.
Okay.
But they're fairly large. So it must have been a larger animal of some kind. My guess is that it might have been in another extinct bird of some kind.
Or it could have been a aquatic animal, no?
It could have been, yes, but I have not heard of any of them doing that, and I don't know that the seeds themselves float. I think the fruit would float and get to where it needs to go, but I don't know if the seeds can float and take on that kind of thing.
Okay.
For other reasons, nobody has really looked into that as far as I can tell.
Okay.
The big thing with this tree is that the poison is used, rather that the seeds that are poisonous are used in many ways for two things. One, is suicide.
Yeah.
It's a really big problem in, suicide is a big problem. The means to it, in this case, being a tree that grows that's planted nearby, I don't know if that's as much the problem as the culture that's kind of creating this really nasty situation of a lot of deaths.
Yeah.
And there's one person sent us an article. I think this is where this was requested. Was that this tree is used in India because it's just growing everywhere. It's very common. It's very commonly planted there, so people can find it and they know that it's poisonous, and then they end up using the seed to create a concoction or something like that, and then they take it and it stops your heart.
Oh God,
that's really the big thing that happens.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, but this is, I think, one of those situations where, yes, if you use it that way, it does bad things. But it's also been used across its native range for a million different reasons. In addition, so they would do it was a laxative and an antipyretic, which means it's used to reduce fever and that kind of thing.
Interesting.
Ironically, it's been used to treat cardiac issues. So there might be like a certain dosage,
just the right amount,
exactly, or like with other things, or.
Sure.
I don't know. Part of me kind of feels like it shocks the system into doing something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Not worth trying, in my opinion.
When you say poisonous, if I take one off a tree and take a bite out of it, like an apple, am I going to die?
Almost certainly. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. This is.
So why bother with a tea?
Well, I don't know. Maybe it's unpalatable. I'm not sure.
Sure.
But this is it's called Cerberin, and it's a cardiac glycosoid, and it's found in specifically this genus, which is Cerbera. Which we should go back real fast and just make sure that we know Cerbera is named after Cerberus.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, you got that spot on. You said it in passing, and I was like, oh, I'm glad. We're going to talk about that later.
Okay,
do you remember who that is?
That is the three-headed dog that guards the gates of the Hades.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
So it kind of makes sense. It keeps the dead from going back out into the world.
Oh, wow. So, that is just very... That's on the nose.
Is a bit on the nose, and Linnaeus is the one who gave that, so thanks a lot, Linnaeus.
Oh, Linnaeus.
Yeah.
He had a dark sense of humor, maybe.
He did. That is like an understatement of the year. Yeah, so the name is quite apt. This is also the same dog that Hercules. Heracles. My God, excuse me.
Hercules.
Yeah, Hercules.
It was a Hercules feat.
That was good.
Hercules.
Yes, Heracles.
Sorry, I didn't mean to point at you and laugh.
No, that's okay. It's very worth it sometimes, and I can take it.
See, this is the difference between us. I make fun of you because you have thick skin, but the moment you make fun of me, I'm like, hey.
And I'm like, ha, Alex, this was for the good of the podcast. Cry later.
Sacrifice.
That's why we bought these pillows.
Our arbitrary pillows. Perfect for crying into.
Perfect for crying. Go to www.arbitrarypod.com. Get your crying pillows.
It's a body pillow of you and I.
With the arms, as soon as you push into the pillow, the arms wrap around.
Yes,
like those things.
Very good.
Anyway, yes. So this is Heracles.
Thank you.
This was the 12th labor of his 12 labors.
Oh.
He had to go get Cerberus and bring it back out into the world because some guy, I can't remember his name, they're all too confusing, brought out and said, well, okay, why don't you go down and get Cerberus, bring it on back up here. And then laughed because he's like, oh, this one's impossible.
Yeah.
And essentially he went down and either fought Hades a little bit or Hades was just like, yeah, okay, just bring him back.
You can borrow him for the weekend.
Yeah, I think so. And then he took him up and he was like, yeah, here you go, blah, blah. Or he had to train, or he had to subdue Cerberus.
Sure.
Which he did.
Yeah.
Without using a weapon.
What did he do?
He basically put it in a headlock until he gave up. He was like, okay, fine. Okay. You can take me.
I thought he sang him a song or something.
No, this is the strongest man in the world.
Put him in a headlock.
Yeah.
What a hero.
So that's what he did. And then he took it back up and then basically either took it back to Hades or legend has it just let it go and it found its way back.
Oh, okay.
Which I kind of like that idea.
Yeah.
Like in ancient Greece, everyone's just chilling. All of a sudden this three-headed dog runs through town, kind of panicked, clearly looking to get home. And you're just like, don't touch that dog. So this tree, aptly named because of this really intense poison side.
Yeah.
Here's the other thing. This was used famously in Madagascar. And this is the name of the tree that I initially had actually put, because I thought this was the name of the tree, but it's actually the name of the quote ordeal. It's called Tangena or Tangena.
Yes, this is the word I saw.
Yes, and
What is that? What is this?
This is the horrific practice which we humans have done far too many times.
Oh no!
Which is called a trial by ordeal. Have you heard about this before?
Oh, well, I know of, because of the aforementioned Song of Ice and Fire.
Yes.
The trial by combat.
Yes, this is
Basically says, fight each other. Whoever God wants to win, he will make win.
yes, or whoever is innocent, God will let win.
Yes.
Let survive.
Yeah.
Correct. So this is essentially the same thing, but I think where most people would be familiar with it is in witch trials, both in Europe and the United States.
Oh, wow.
The classic, I think it's like witch dunking or something like that is like the name of it.
Okay.
Where the term "damned if you do, damned if you don't" situation comes into play.
Tell me more.
So
I love the origin of idioms.
Oh, this is great. This
So
is
fun.
This is a good one.
Okay.
Sorry, I mean, we're like, oh, come on, this is going to be a lot of fun. Where no matter what, you're dead. So
have you read Voltaire's The Origin of Idioms? It's a thick read, but it's worth
it's
it.
a thick read. So what a trial by ordeal is they essentially say the gods, or in this case, 99% of the time is God, will, the Christian one, will deem you either innocent or guilty by making you do something. And in this case, what happened in the witch trials is they would make a alleged witch. They would pull them out into the middle of a lake and they would drop them in. Because historically, women were not, they just did not know how to swim.
Okay.
For whatever reason. Maybe they were not taught. There was just this understanding that women do not swim.
Wow.
So if the woman drowned, she was not a witch. And you could say, all right, she's innocent, but she was, dead.
It's too late to do anything about
Exactly,
it.
but her name would be cleared, and
But at
that's
least
what
we
most
checked.
important.
Yeah, of course.
And then if she swam, then they would be like, "You're a witch."
Wow.
And
damned
then
if you do,
they would
damned
burn
if
her
you
at
don't.
stake.
Jesus Christ.
There's some other way. They stoned women too, Classic medieval. Salem, Massachusetts.
Yes.
Yeah, this happened right here.
Yeah. Not too long ago, really, either.
No, this was in the 1600s.
Yeah.
Is when this was really going on, which is just an extension of medieval Europe at the time.
When you think about it, it really wasn't that long ago.
No, it really wasn't. So in Madagascar, they had this particular one where they used this exact tree, which is why it becomes, which is why we're doing it right now, because it's spooky. So this ordeal is called Tangena or Tangena. I can't actually find a good pronunciation. I've heard it both ways. Okay. And essentially what it is they would do the same thing where they would have someone be accused of something and they would say, okay, eat this poison and eat 3 pieces of chicken skin. If you vomit back up all the chicken skin, you were innocent. If you did not, you were guilty. And most of the time you would die because you didn't vomit anything back up.
Because you ate poison.
Precisely. Yes. And they use the seeds, particularly of Cerbera manghas.
Wow.
Yes. Now, I've heard there's a couple other species. It kind of actually goes back and forth, but this is the one, pretty positive, is the one. But either one of them worked. 6 species, all super poisonous.
Okay. How long ago was this happening in Madagascar?
Well, it was abolished in 1863.
Okay.
Just during the American Civil War.
Casey saw my eyes shudder in my head.
Yeah. Meanwhile, as we don't say that this was that long ago.
Wow.
But yeah. So this actually is it is from a deeply held tradition that the folks on Madagascar, the Malagasy folks, used for a very long time. So this was done, I think the first records were like from the 1500s or so.
Okay.
And so it's this like very classic old kind of thing that they used to always do. But like, it's just like one of those other things where like this tree gets this horrible name because it's associated with like these 2 really big bad things.
Yeah.
But remember how I said, Alex, that this tree is planted all over the place for reasons that you may not expect. One, I said already that it's a tree that's used for a variety of landscape purposes because it's pretty. But this like wildly poisonous tree is also used in 2 really interesting positive ways. One is that it can be used as a tree that can grow in kind of denuded landscapes. So the area is completely destroyed or it's filled with water. No other trees will grow there.
Denuded.
Yes, it means it's like all the nutrients have been taken away, all the organic matter. It's been like probably polluted here or there. So all the good stuff is gone.
Okay.
It's denuded.
Like a post-apocalyptic landscape.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
Okay.
otherwise known as like an oil field or something
Sure.
like that.
Okay, yeah.
A mine area where there's like a lot of heavy metals, like just bad stuff that's growing.
Yeah.
This tree will grow in these places. Remember how it grows in like freshwater estuary places? It's a really hard place for a lot of trees to grow. So if this tree can grow like near rice paddies and near areas where it's a little bit more challenging to grow traditional agroforestry kind of trees. So it grows there. So it can help kind of add a tree cover to an otherwise, to an area that otherwise cannot grow trees.
Sure.
The other thing.
That's like, I mean, but it's like, we can't grow grass here. What if we just put a bunch of shards of glass on the ground?
It's not that bad.
That's pretty.
Well, if you don't eat it, it's not going to kill you.
Yeah, if you don't walk on it, it's fine.
Okay, all right. You can pick it. You can look at it. You can smell the flowers.
You can pick it for why?
I don't know. Throw it somewhere. I don't know. Just do whatever you're going to do.
I just think it's the dumbest thing. I'm sorry if this is like a cultural difference, but holy shit.
Yeah. Well,
what?
Here's the other good reason.
Why are we doing this?
It's a part of potentially the future of diesel and energy. So the seed can produce something like 50% by volume oil. And it's an oil that is a non-edible feedstock.
Oh.
Which really threw me off when I read that.
Sea mango seed oil.
Correct. Sea mango seed oil is a non-edible feedstock for biodiesel.
Feedstock.
Yes. I don't understand why they call it that. They should come up with a different name.
Yeah, it's not to give to your horses.
It is not.
Okay.
But it's the same exact term as you use for literally all those other things.
Literally, yes.
Yes. So, but it means that you can feed it into the industrial system, and it will help produce biodiesel, biofuels.
Maybe come back to this name and find something better.
Yeah.
They had to get home by 5.
Exactly. There you go. Yeah. Just put that in as a placeholder and move on. And then someone ended up pressing enter and sent the email. And that's what it is.
It's too late now.
Yeah.
So it can be fed into the industrial system.
Yeah, and that's my term. But essentially, what it means is that you can make biodiesel from it.
Okay.
And biodiesel is essentially a liquid biofuel that can be synthesized from anything that is not a fossil fuel.
Okay, so the bio and biofuel just means from a living thing.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
And don't add us. We know that all fossil fuels come from what used to be living things. We see you. We hear that. You know the difference. We don't want to hear it. So This is industrial crops and agricultural byproducts, municipal waste, things like this.
Okay.
So you can take these seeds, smash them, get the oil out of them, which, let me remind you, is highly poisonous if ingested.
Yeah, do not touch.
Well, I think you can touch, you just can't take it in your mouth.
I mean, I know that if I touch,
yes,
I'm going to accidentally rub my lip or something.
Certainly, yeah, it's going to cause you damage. So if you just use it in this one application, you can actually plant it and grow it in these less than stellar places where you cannot grow something else that's maybe for food, and then use that to create fuel and not essentially take up space where you have this classic thing that I read in a bunch of these papers, which is food versus fuel. So you can do the same process for any kind of seed oil that is, not any kind, but for a lot of different ones that are edible. But people are like, well, why are we using our edible food stuff to make biodiesel? Why are we, that is not a good priority if people are literally starving in places on this planet. Why don't we use that to make food? So they're saying, okay, great. So this is kind of one of those weird opportunities where you can say, okay, well, this plot of land can't make anything worth a damn for us to eat. But this one tree will grow here and it will produce some kind of very useful oil that we can use for industrial things and specifically for biodiesel, for a fuel that is biodegradable, which I read through this article and I was like, really? So I'm not an expert on biodiesel, but it says that it is highly biodegradable. I
Yeah.
know. Actually, Alex, you're surprised by this. I know everyone out there listening also is. This is a big omission in my experience.
Part of the introduction on our show, the podcast about trees and biodiesel.
And Biodiesel by Casey Clapp, the biodiesel expert. It's on Apple Podcasts. Yes, so I don't know, but it is apparently specifically from renewable resources. So you can regrow it and use it again, which means if you are burning some amount of this biodiesel, then it is coming from a source that is taking carbon out of the atmosphere, turning it into this product that we are then using later to burn. So it's kind of like burning wood. Every time you burn wood, you are burning carbon that was taken out of the atmosphere by that tree.
Oh yeah.
So if we can get that into balance, you're at a zero sum kind of game. Where it's not the right term, but you're neutral in terms of your carbon intake and output.
Carbon neutral.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, I guess I take back what I said about it being really stupid. Now I just think it's like really unfortunate. It's like, oh, we have this renewable resource that we can turn into this great fuel. It's very clean. It's poisonous. What else?
Wait, what? I'm sorry. What did you say? What did you just say?
It's like on the back page of the pitch.
Yeah, right?
Like
Yeah.
really small.
Really small.
By the
print.
way, it's
Yeah,
poison.
by the way, what's that asterisk means? Right? What is that asterisk? No, don't worry about the
It's
asterisk.
chock full of deadly poison.
Yeah.
I just think it's so funny.
It's really interesting. I believe it biodegrades very quickly. Like it doesn't seem like it poisons the ground or anything.
Oh, sure. Okay.
But like there are compounds like that all over the place.
Interesting. Yeah, but I mean, this whole botanical poison thing is very interesting to me.
Yeah, I don't understand it because why would a fruit develop such intense poison?
Yeah,
Its whole purpose is to be eaten.
we have talked about the cyanide in apples.
Yes.
is meant to just give birds diarrhea.
Yeah.
so that they'll poop out the seeds quickly. Right?
Exactly. Humans, well, like everything around it though.
Perfect
right?
sense. But so much poison that it will kill a large mammal.
Yeah.
Seems like, oh, you guys push that lever too far
Yeah.
in that direction.
Because it's in the flesh. It's not just in the seed.
Yeah, right. Oh, yeah.
That's the thing that makes me be like, and it makes sense. Like put in your leaves, put in your flowers. You don't want anything eating that.
Yeah.
Okay. But in the flesh of the fruit.
With the thing that is supposed to be enticing and succulent and easy to
Exactly.
eat.
So it makes me think, Alex, that something had to have eaten this. Like,
Megafauna?
it could have been megafauna, but right now there's no like mammals that I believe can eat it. But we know that at least one bird can. So my guess, like I said earlier, is that it was probably a bird. And normally when you get big seeds like that, it's
Yeah.
from a big bird.
Sure.
So I don't know.
Hey.
It could be, but
The biggest birds of them all?
Sesame Street.
Dinosaurs. Yes. What?
Yeah. What did you say?
Are they dinosaurs on Sesame Street?
Yeah, I think there are dinosaurs on Sesame Street.
Everybody went running, screaming.
No, Sesame Street. No, get out of there.
A nightmare on Sesame Street.
It's a Sesame Street and Jurassic Park combination.
Now we're talking.
Yeah, now that could be cinematic genius.
Call Spielberg
Call Spielberg. Get him on the line.
with Big Bird.
Hi, Big Bird, you there? Hey, Steven. Yeah, Steven, we got Big Bird on the line. We just want to make sure to connect you two. We got a great idea.
You do that very well, Casey.
Thank you.
Okay, so yeah, maybe, but this is my pitch that maybe dinosaurs ate these.
Yes.
And because they're giant lizards, they are immune to poison. At least that's what I've learned from Skyrim.
Not unreasonable. That is a fairly good resource to base things off of.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I have nothing else to add.
All right. Well, yeah. Wow, Casey.
Yeah, so I want someone to figure out what used to eat these.
Yeah.
Because I think I'm skeptical about dinosaurs, and the only reason is they've had 65 million years to adapt to something else.
I was kidding.
What?
Also.
No. Come on.
I mean,
I take you seriously.
I was totally
Alex.
kidding.
You know that.
I know when dinosaurs were alive.
I know they were. I was like, not that long ago, as we've talked about.
It's really not that long ago that dinosaurs were alive. It's really not that long ago that we were all primordial sludge.
Yeah, I really appreciate your long view of things.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Big picture guy.
Yeah, you really are.
Okay. Wow. Well, please don't kill yourself.
Yes, this is-
Beware of the sea mango.
But smell the flowers. They smell really nice.
See, even that, I would be like, I'm good. I'm just worried that it's somehow, I don't know, it's going to give me a bad cold or something. If you know what I mean? Like, that will get into me.
Yeah, I smelled
microplastics.
And it caused me horrible diarrhea.
Yes, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, fair.
Well, Casey, we got to give a rating to this sea mango. Oh, I am just dreading it.
This one's a complicated one.
It really is. There's a lot of philosophical debate that needs to happen.
I agree.
In a very timely manner. We're going to be right back with that right after a quick break. We'll be right back with Completely Arbortrary.
Uh-oh, Alex is breaking. He's panicking about the next half.
Welcome back to Completely Arbortrary. That was our... Do I do that too loud, Casey?
No, you never do. I think you could do it louder.
I feel like I can see you flinch every time I say that.
No, I just love it.
Louder? Mm-hmm. Welcome back to Completely Arbortrary.
Nice.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
That was our discussion of the sea mango. I hope you enjoyed it, and it's time to give this one a rating of 0 to 10 golden cones of honor, and here's how it works. We're going to give some final thoughts. Wow. And then... give it a rating of 0 to 10 golden cones of honor. It's pretty straightforward. Mm-hmm. Casey, as our resident expert, will begin with you.
All right. Well, this is a complicated tree. I like the idea of biofuels. I think it's got to be the future, I think is the only way to put it. Will it be before everything really comes crashing down? Absolutely not. But it should be the future. And we can make them from 1,000 different things. So a part of me is like, okay, do we have to use this tree? But then I think, okay, but this tree can grow in places that are generally not good for other things. So, okay, that's a positive. It grows in the mangroves, which is a endangered forest type. So I also want to be like, okay, well, go do that. Generally, people are not going out into the mangroves and finding fruit from those trees and eating them. So maybe continue to not do that. Though, I do have to note, this tree is completely poisonous in every way. But as I said earlier, I don't know that we can blame the tree for this. If there was another option that was easier and faster, I believe people that's what they would go for.
Sure.
So the tree almost is getting vilified. It was used horribly in these trials by ordeal. But I don't know. Part of me is just like, no, there are other bigger problems that we need to fix. The society that's causing this in people is the problem. As Twain says, society is poisoning them and it's poisoning me.
Wow.
And that, not Mark Twain, to be very clear, the artist known as Twain.
Oh.
It just makes music that we listen to every now and then.
Okay, I thought you were pulling out a Mark Twain reference.
No, he's far funnier than that. He would say something very clever. He wouldn't just put a sharp point on it.
Sure.
So I think that, like, yeah, it's a hard thing that it's just a very difficult tree to manage because it kind of plays this. It's in this netherworld of like, oh, am I or am I not good?
Sure.
And how maybe it's all just used. It's very similar to a bunch of other things. Like if it has a use that is demonstrably good, but also has a use that's demonstrably bad.
Totally.
Is it morally good or bad? I don't know.
I think, well, go ahead.
Well, for this reason, I give it a 5. 5.0 right down the middle.
Perfect.
If at any point you want to lean one way or the other, you can round it up or round it down. It's whatever you feel best. Yeah. So that's where I'm going to land on it.
Okay.
Straight down the pipe. And I also agree with you in that the tree itself, it's got utility, everything except the flowers.
True.
I really like the flowers. I think the flowers are outstanding.
Don't eat them, Casey.
Don't eat the flowers. Smell the flowers. And then back away slowly and go find a real mango, which looks completely different.
Oh, thank God.
We listened to an episode on this, or there's an episode that you can listen to on this. Go find that.
Okay. Yeah, good.
Tell the difference.
5.0.
This is why botany is important. Also, learn to identify your trees.
This has got to be like a song they teach to Indian children. Like know the difference between the sea mango and the mango.
Yeah. It's like the king snake and the coral snake. And, Yeah. It's like, well, there's a rime, not a song.
It's like red next to black, jump the fuck back. One of those.
No, it's actually red touches black, friend of Jack. Red touches yellow, you're a dead fellow.
That's funny because I know that song from an episode of Peep Show where a debaucherous character rents a snake for a party because he wants to have like a cool conversation starter. And he's like, "Yeah, don't worry. Red next to black, jump the fuck back. Or red next to black, yeah, jump the fuck back. Red next to yellow, cuddly fellow." And he's like, "But red is next to black." And he's like, "Yeah, whatever. It's fine."
Yeah, whatever. Nice. Okay, that's
so
good.
he got it wrong, which is very funny. It's
exactly,
me.
but it sounds like, yeah. All right,
Yeah.
I'm into
Okay.
this.
Casey,
Alex.
this is tough. On the one hand, no, actually, it's not that tough. Wow.
Well, continue. Tell us about each of your hands.
Well, I was about to say on the one hand, it grows a mango. It does not.
It does not demonstrably.
This mango is a deceiver. You know what this tree kind of reminds me of, Casey?
What?
Orcs from the Legendarium of Lord of the Rings by J.R.R. Tolkien.
Huh.
I'll tell you why.
Okay. Yeah.
The orcs are just sort of like they have like families and like social structures and shit.
Orcs do?
Sure. But they're sort of just like animalistic, right?
Yeah, okay.
They just sort of like exist. They're like gray matter.
Okay.
The only reason orcs are like evil and want to hunt down the ring and kill man, eat man flesh, which is back on the menu,
Which, to be clear.
is because they are dictated mentally and physically by Sauron, who is evil.
Oh, okay.
Like he wills them to do things, because that's when Sauron dies, orcs crawl back into their little holes and just go into obscurity. They don't know what to do.
Really?
Yes, they need a strong leader. They're like opinionless, totally thoughtless beings. And that's why I think that's why Sauron chooses them to be his army.
He manipulates them.
Yes,
Is what it sounds like.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
They're very easily willed. You know?
Yeah, okay.
So that's kind of how I feel about this tree. It's like,
Interesting.
it's neutral. It's just a thing in nature. But if humans have turned it into this like beast, you know, and like, it's too late now. We have this biofuel. It's poisonous, though, you know? I don't know. I have a lot of thoughts about this. Maybe the Sauron thing isn't great, but I just felt like talking about him. I gave them, on an emotional level, I do not feel good about this tree. It creates a fuel, that's fine, whatever. But all I'm really concerned about, Casey, is this thing is called a mango. No. It is a deceiver. It is a lord of lies.
It is, yes.
Send this thing back to hell from whence it came. I do not like it parading around with the name mango.
Okay.
It's not right,
I see.
and it's not fair.
It's not right. It's not fair.
And it can grow in places where others. I don't give a shit.
That's not what I sound like, Alex.
Because I gave the mango the most perfect tree and the most perfect fruit in the world, a 10. I feel it is very poetic and fitting to give the sea mango a 0 out of 10 golden cones of honor.
You're a monster. Wow. A 0?
Yep.
It has no redeeming qualities whatsoever?
It has no honor, sir.
It has no honor.
It is the opposite of a Stark. This is a Lannister through and through.
I think it's a Frey. I like the Freys the least.
Oh, the Freys are awful.
That's my perspective.
That's a good one, Casey. This tree's Walder Frey. It's disgusting. I don't want it near me.
Disgusting.
Stop planting it where people might confuse it with a fruit that they're hungry.
Well, next week we're going to be talking about the Bintaro, so I hope it makes you feel a little bit better.
I hope so too, even though I don't know what that is. That was our review of the sea mango.
Oh,
Casey,
God.
It's time for a completely arbitrary AMA. And this week we have one at long last from Socks.
Oh, what up, Socks?
Socks battled with this AMA feature. There was a 500 years war.
We're finally on the other side of it.
Socks says, my parents have a lovely olive tree that they are probably going to remove. Is there a way to just pick up the tree and put it elsewhere? I really would prefer not to kill it. And since we're in Sonoma County, which has a Mediterranean climate, there are plenty of olive orchards and nurseries. Thank you. Still my comfort podcast and constant inspiration for botanical drawing. One day I'll be brave enough to submit a Cone Club contribution.
Oh, well,
How about that, Socks? Thanks. Casey.
Yes.
I grabbed this question not only because it's from Socks and she finally defeated her foe, the AMA, but Casey, it got me thinking, how does one move a tree? It seems so odd. Like I just like can't think of a machine that could do that.
I love this.
Maybe it's people, but then people aren't going to lift, a 2-ton tree. And
used to be that way though. They used to do it that way.
So that's wild.
Yeah. This is a great question. And also, shout out to Socks, who sent us a bunch of stuff, came up to Portland, went on one of my tree walks.
Yeah.
It was just one of our favorite people. So, shout out.
Do you feel like I'm being mean?
No.
Because Socks couldn't figure out the AMA?
No, not at all. No,
Okay.
I was just shouting out, just shout out in addition too.
Okay,
no,
great.
We all have our demons. It's all right. There's some things I just refuse to do because I refuse to learn how to do that thing.
I completely resonate with
okay
that.
with that.
All right.
right.
Yeah. How does one move a tree?
This is a great question. So the way that they do it nowadays is with a gigantic machine, or it depends on the size of the tree. It's called a tree spade.
A tree spade.
Yes.
Now a garden spade. Is a little mini shovel.
Yeah.
That goes in the ground and creates kind of a pointed hole.
Yep, exactly.
And you lift it up.
Now imagine you have a tractor and you have one of those that is, I don't know, maybe 4 feet wide at the top.
That's a big spade.
Exactly. So what it does is it goes around and it has these two big arms that reach around the base of the tree. And the base of the tree should just have a stem on it so it wouldn't have like lower branches. And so it closes this thing around and it has these hydraulic literal spades that look like these shields that it just goes straight down into the ground at a kind of, I shouldn't say straight, it's at an angle. And it then creates this kind of diamond shaped clump of soil.
You know what this
with
looks?
a tree in the middle.
You know what this looks like, Casey? Is one of those like fortune teller things we used to make as kids. What are
Totally.
those? Like
I don't even know what they're called.
You
but yes.
fold the paper into like a 4-cornered thing.
Yeah, and someone has to choose a number, and you go 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah,
then
so
they have to choose another thing, and then,
You can also use them to pick up grapes and stuff.
Put them in your mouth. Yeah.
Yeah,
okay,
this is ingenious.
Yeah. And so it does that and it goes down, creates this, like I said, diamond shaped kind of thing. And then it's because machines are more powerful than they ought to be. It just lifts this tree up and drives it away.
Okay.
Sometimes they have them on the back of a truck. So the truck itself just kind of lifts it up and then it lays on the back of the truck. And then that one truck drives over to where it needs to be, backs on up to a hole pre-dug, and then just plops the tree straight back down in.
Wow.
Yeah, it's incredible. And there's different sizes, so you can use big ones or little ones, and you can have them placed into bits that make it ball and burlap, or put it into a container. All sorts of different things.
Like you can have that built in so that when you grab it, it just cinches it up into the burlap?
I don't think they're built in. I think you have to take it to another spot and like set it down, and then someone or something will wrap it up.
That'd be cool, though.
It would be cool. That would be an intense thing. I'm sure that it's not out of the realm of possibilities. I may be wrong, in fact.
Kind of does it all at once.
Yeah.
That'd be neat.
That would be amazing. I mean, they have logging vehicles that do everything all at once. They pick up entire loads of trees. They're called feller bunchers. And to this day, I have never seen one, so I'm kind of skeptical on their existence. But
interesting.
Some videos are out there. This might be a deep fake. Anyway.
That could be one of those myths that the old timers at the job tell the new guy.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
To make him look stupid.
Exactly. Go give me the feller buncher. Oh,
yeah.
No, go give me the branch extender.
The breastplate stretcher.
Yeah. So this is the same thing they use, and it's very, very common.
Say branch extender? Is that one that you've heard?
Yeah, that's an arborist one. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because you can't we cut this branch too short. Go get us the extender.
Classic.
It is. It's fun. It's fun.
It's bullying,
yeah,
but it's
bullying.
good.
But then afterwards, you pat him on the head and you say, "Sorry, we're not going to do that joke again. You're one of us." So yeah, that's what it is, and it's great.
Okay, wow.
It's a great little machine. There is one downfall, is that, as you are probably aware by now, the roots of trees grow in the top 2 to 3 feet of soil, and they grow out.
Yes, this was my next question.
Yes, so you are actually cutting most of the root system off, like something like 60 or 70%.
I feel like that maybe can't be helped.
It really can't. I mean, unless you get the tree when it's really small.
Is it possible to kill a tree in this way?
Oh, yeah, it happens all the time.
Oh, wow.
But it doesn't happen immediately because the tree has like stored nutrients, and if it gets enough water, it will put out new roots and it'll reattach itself and establish to its area.
Sure.
But for the most part, if you don't do that, the tree will not be able to reestablish. Certainly not quickly. Usually it'll die back from the top, and then continue to die back to the bottom. And then it is death.
By that time, the company you hired to do this has already been paid.
Yes, exactly. But if you're smart,
They've moved on to the next town.
Yeah, you got to have a either they will say up front, this is, we're going to do our best, but here's the things you need to do to make sure to keep this tree alive.
Okay.
And then they will do it. Other times there will be a contract that essentially says this tree must be kept alive for 2 years, and you have to do it.
Oh.
So that's what like city contracts do.
Okay.
And they will take the trees out of the ground using their tree spade, pop them up, put them in the ground in a different place, and then that company has to make sure that those trees survive for X amount of years per the contract. If they don't, then they just replace the tree and they just keep doing it until they get it right.
It is funny, Casey, like, often the solution to these like curious questions, like how do they do that, is like so simple.
Yeah.
It's like exactly what you would come up with, you know?
So yeah, someone thought about this and they came up with the first thing that you would too.
Like if I had a hand spade, but imagine it was 4 feet wide.
Yeah, imagine if it was big for a big tree.
Yeah, I mean that's exactly what they made.
Yeah, and this is like, that is just the kind of normal size, like 2 to 3 feet, but you can get them really big for really big trees.
Oh, wow.
And these are the things that the multi-billionaires are paying for when they say, I want a 30-foot tree right here.
Right.
And I want 50 of them.
And
then they will pay.
Old-growth forest on this lot.
Yes, that's it. It's totally it.
Wow.
Like I had a job once where a billionaire up in Washington needed one, and they ended up asking for incense cedar that were, I think, 30 feet tall and something like 12 inches in diameter at the base. So the base of the tree was 12 inches, which is huge. So they used these giant spades and they pulled them all out and then they set them down. But these trees were too tall with 0 roots.
Yeah.
So we had to devise a system to hold the trees in place. So we had to put in like all of these blocks and then have them cabled down at the base. It was a whole thing. And I was like, this is insane. Why are you doing this? And the simple answer was, because I can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, interesting case.
It's insane. So
that's
there
how
you
you
go.
move a tree.
Yes. So I think that you could do this, but unfortunately, if the tree is too big and too old, you're probably just going to kill it in the moving process.
Yeah. But but you know what? The alternative is for it to die anyway. So you might as well try, if you can afford it.
You might as well try.
Yeah. Give me a rough, quick ballpark on moving an olive tree with a diameter of maybe this big.
Yeah, okay.
8 inches?
It's about 8 inches. I don't know, probably $3,000 or $4,000.
Okay, that's about what I was expecting.
I would think somewhere in there.
That's expensive.
It's expensive. It's very expensive for a single tree with a, 40% chance of survival.
What if I buy in bulk? Can you cut me a discount?
Yeah.
Wholesale tree removal.
It's only going to be $2,000 per tree, so we already got everything out there.
Thank you, Socks, for your question. We appreciate it. And if you've got a question for us, become a Treemium member. If you just want to support the podcast, get some cool stuff in return. There's a lot of fun things happening. Become a Treemium member. The way you do that is by going to arbortrarypod.supercast.com. That's ARBORTRARY pod.supercast.com and join up.
Yeah, do it. And while you're there, ask us some questions, then go to our merch shop and use your 15% off code that you get once a month to go in and get that much off anything in our store.
Yeah.
Right now, except the hats, which we still have, and you should pre-sale order those right now.
Yes.
Because they're just going to be off the chain.
They're great.
But we also have tote bags, we have shirts, we got other stickers, and if you are in the Cone Club and you get a sticker every month, which is a spectacular thing, period.
It's true.
You can also go back in and get all of the other cones that we have had.
That's true, Casey.
And you can get those with a different code, to be very clear. And not everyone has access to that, so only you.
Be like a fun, that's what we call it, Treemium. Casey Clapp.
Alex Crowson, let's get out of here.
Yeah, I want to go, period.
Well, yeah, that's the end of my statement. Yeah, well, happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween, Case.
Yeah, go get out there and have a good time. Enjoy the spooky season, everybody.
I hope it's spooky for you in a very manageable, safe way. Eat yourself some Reese's.
Exactly right, yeah.
Have a great one. All right, thank you so much, everybody, for listening to this episode of Completely Arbortrary. Hey, we'll see you next time. Goodbye. Completely Arbortrary is produced by Alex Crowson and Casey Clapp. Our artwork is by Jillian Barthold, and our music is by Aves and the Mini Vandals. If you want to support this podcast and become a Treemium member, head over to arbitrarypod.supercast.com. Thanks for listening.